Hello again, good friends. Welcome, new subscribers. I'm Brian from Apex Detail. Today, we're going to showcase and take a closer look at Sonax Spray and Seal. This is a simple spray-on, rinse-off formula, just a hybrid polymer, no SiO2, no Ti22 or TiO2. I'm going to show application, what it looks like, and how it protects. I value your time as much as mine, so let's get into it. Sonax Spray and Seal, a simple spray-on rinse-off formula, 750 milliliters for $19.99. Doesn't contain SiO2 or titanium, however, does contain isopropanol, siloxanes, and silicone, something to be aware of. Preparation is key with all detailing products, and since I see that being neglected still on social media and just about everywhere, I'm going to hammer that home. A proper wash, decontamination is key. And after the wash, leave it wet just like this, because you're going to spray the formula right on top of this and then use some type of a pressurized unit or hopefully a hose with some strong pressure behind it to rinse it off. Shake the bottle for a good 20 seconds, mix up that rich formula, then you can twist up the safety nozzle to the upright position and start applying. It comes out in both clumps and a fine mist. I just wish it would be just one fine mist. Just a few squirts per panel. You don't see me going crazy and laying product down in a thick clump. Grab your hose or pressure washer and thoroughly rinse. You're going to see like a little bit of foaminess or milky color, and rinse until you do not see that anymore, then you know it's properly removed. From there, simply dry thoroughly. I tried to get away with the drag the drying towel across the panel method, but you need a little bit more pressure than that to remove the high spots, as you see here. You can either make sure you remove the high spots right off the bat with the drying towel you have, or simply grab a fresh microfiber and do a second round. You'll have a finished look on the surface of your car, such as this, a decent gloss. I like the shop dark when I correct. Not a lot of ambient light, but that is not great when you're walking around the car doing final inspection. So let's pull it out into the sunlight, make sure there are no high spots, and as you can see, I believe we have them. Makes the car look fantastic. That covers application, removal, and final results. Let's run the numbers on this and do some testing. This is a fresh test panel here. It needs to be properly prepped. That means it needs to be washed, decontaminated, a light polish with a cleaner, and then IP solution. Detailing products meant for protection will not bond to oxidation, and all paint without protection will form some type of oxidation. The surface needs to be exfoliated just like this. It also will not bond to surfaces that aren't decontaminated, surfaces that have dirt, and surfaces that are just really overall rough with scratches, gouges, swirls, and hazing. Even after pre-treat and a wash and chemical decontamination, I still have some crud showing up on the pad from the panel. Shows the importance of a good cleaner polish. Follow that up with one last step, a body solvent, panel prep, or IP solution, and we're ready for protection. It's at this point here where I want to get some readings. I want to measure the depth now and see if it adds any depth whatsoever, anything measurable anyways, when we apply the sealant. We're at a little bit over 3.5 mils total thickness from the substrate up to the top of the clear coat. So let's get a gloss reading as well. That's going to read 93.9 GU. We're going to hopefully see a nice bump in gloss after the sealant is applied. I'll explain what the black circles are for a little bit later, but I covered the surface that we're not going to protect so we have some type of contrast to go by. The numbers, the letters, and also that dot will be buried and sealed under the coating of sealant that we're laying down right here. And we're going to apply it just like we did on the Mercedes while it's wet after being washed, a couple sprays onto the panel, and then thoroughly rinse. You'll immediately start to see the transformation, the beading starts, and I used color water on this light panel to make it easier for you to see. Dry thoroughly, and since there is no cure time mentioned, I'm going to let it sit for 4 to 6 hours before we start testing on it. We come back a few hours later, the sealant's cured. It looks a little brighter, a little bit more glossy, but we're going to measure that. We're going to have numbers to back us up. We're going to start with the depth first. Did it add any depth whatsoever to the top of the substrate? Coatings, quality sealants will change the depth reading, but this here, nothing that's measurable. Well, how about when it comes to gloss and reflection? Has there been a huge change in the reading there? Not a whole lot there, a little underwhelming. I would have liked to see a bigger jump. By the way, I'm writing the final readings on top of the coating where the rest of the readings are underneath. I do want you to pay attention as we start to test. We're going to start off rather simple here. I have Power Clean. It is full strength, but all we're going to do is spray it on and rinse it off. Any quality sealant or coating will not be removed this way, but we'll see. No change in the sealant's characteristics in any way, but as we can see, the permanent marker on the unprotected area that is not sealed underneath is starting to degrade. We're going to follow up. Power Clean doesn't leave much of a residue behind to begin with, but we're going to drop some IP on there at about 25% and see if that has any influence on the sealant whatsoever. Remember, one of those circles is protected and sealed underneath the Sonax Spray and Seal, and the other is fully exposed. You can see the difference between the two. If there is going to be a chemical to affect it, it's going to be something like this. This is acid wheel cleaner, highly acidic. But we're not going to just spray it on top and rinse it off. That may not be enough either. We're going to use a little elbow grease, rub it in, use a microfiber, and see what kind of damage it does. Where we worked it in with the towel, there has been some major degradation to the sealant. But everywhere else where we just sprayed it on and rinsed it off, there's still some protection there. So that'll give you a little bit of an idea of what this spray sealant can do, how it can protect. And we're going to use some of these methods in our upcoming sealant matchups in the near future. Stay tuned. And for the final thoughts segment of the video, and since this is not an infomercial for the product itself, let's run through both the positives and the negatives of the Sonax Spray and Seal. $19.99 gets you 16 ounces. We grabbed a fresh bottle for the purpose of the video. This is what we're down to. So we used a little less than 2.5 ounces. So a little bit truly does go a long way. When it comes to application, not much easier to apply a sealant to your whole car than using this. When it comes to protection, as you saw in the video, for what it is, it does lay down some decent protection. Some of the negatives, this spray nozzle absolutely sucks, and I would swap that out with something I have that will atomize it a bit more. It's not as viscous as some of the other spray sealants or coatings out there. No need to clump it on with this type of a nozzle, so I would swap that out. When it comes to gloss, it didn't bump it up quite as much as I would like it to. The numbers don't lie with that. And there's a bit of silicone in the formula, which I don't like very much. Overall, I would have to say a decent product, a good product. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate. This has been Brian from Apex Detail. Catch you in the next video.